Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Tasya Kurniasa with my student number 206121145 from DE4D. Here, I will explain about the final semester test segment in the LLA course. These are assessing reading, assessing grammar, assessing writing, assessing speaking, and assessing listening. Number 1. Assessing reading. Assessing reading comprehension has 3 levels. Jadi, assessing reading ini memiliki 3 tingkatan. Number 1. The first level is literal comprehension. Number 2. The second level is interpretive of referential comprehension. Number 3. The third level of comprehension is critical reading. Okay, types of classroom reading performance. There are 2 types of reading performance in class. Number 1, oral and silent reading. Oral reading is a complex process in which the reader becomes the link between the author and the listener by comprehending the selection and interpreting it for the enjoyment and understanding of those listening. Number 2, intensive and extensive reading. Extensive reading is trying to cover vast amount of material, but just skip over the part you don't know and try to get the general gist of things. It's all about context and the big picture. Intensive reading is about studying minute detail and trying to bring absolutely every drop of information out of a section of text. Okay, next, number 2, assessing grammar. Types of grammar performance. Grammar performance type is divided into 5. Number 1, mental grammar, that is internal linguistic knowledge. Number 2, developmental grammar, that is learner grammar. Number 3, prescriptive grammar, that is a set of prescribed rules which tells people how to speak or write. Number 4, descriptive grammar, that is how people do speak actual utterances. Number 5, pedagogical grammar, that is teaching grammar widely used in school. Next, 5 characteristics to measure communicative grammar are. Number 1, the test must provide more context than only a single sentence. Number 2, the tester should understand what the communicative purpose of the test is. Number 3, he or she should also know who the intended audience is. Number 4, he or she must have to focus on meaning and not from to answer correctly. Number 5, recognition is not sufficient. The test taker must be able to produce grammatical responses. Number 3, assessing writing. 2 categories of writing skills. Number 1, micro skills. Micro skills of writing appropriately apply to imitative and intensive types of writing tests. Number 2, macro skills. Writing as essential for the successful mastery of responsive and extensive writing. Next, scoring method for responsive and extensive writing. There are 3 assessment methods for responsive and extensive writing. Number 1, holistic scoring. Number 2, primary trait. Number 3, analytic scoring. Number 1, holistic scoring. Holistic scoring results in a more general description for categories, but includes the different elements of writing implicitly or explicitly. The result is usually a global grade such as A, B, C, D, E. Number 2, primary trait. Scoring primary trait. Scoring is used when the teacher focuses on a particular component of the writing but might include a secondary trait which might receive less weight. And primary trait scoring has 2 types. Number 1, advantages of primary trait scoring. Number 2, disadvantages of primary trait scoring. And the last, number 3, analytic scoring. In this mode, student writing is evaluated based on the type grades for elements of writing such as vocabulary, grammar, composition, or mechanic. And yeah, analytic scoring has two types. Number one, advantages of analytic scoring, and number two, disadvantages of analytic scoring. Next, number four, assessing speaking. Basic types of speaking has five types. Number one, imitative assessment test. Number two, responsive assessment test. Number three, intensive assessment test. Number four, interactive assessment test. Number five, extensive assessment test. Next, three advantages of using speaking assessment in languages classes. Number one, speaking provides opportunities to practice all four skills. Example, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Number two, speaking supports the development of critical thinking skills. Number three, speaking promotes learning. And the last, number five, assessing listening. Basic types of listening. Goals can be classified under several types of listening performance. Therefore, stage in photographing to see in your brain. Namely, number one, understand surface structure elements such as phoneme, word, intonation, or grammatical categories. Number two, understanding pragmatic context. Number three, different pragmatic contexts. Number four, core includes global or comprehensive understanding. Next, stages of acquiring four types of general listening performance. Number one, intensive. Intensive listening involves a more detailed analysis of the language or listening to certain information. Listening to specific information involves finding answer the specific question and also testing the smallest parts of language, such as phonemes, word, intonation, discourse maker. Number two, responsive. Listen to relatively short language such as getting, question, command to make response equally brief. In this case, it expected to be able to master the WH question in order to be able to answer the question correctly. For example, when the test taker hears a question using the word right, then the test taker will answer the question by giving a region usual mark with the word because. Number three, selective. Processing the most appropriate answer based in the specific information that has been heard. In selective listening, you are usually asked to listen to names, number, direction, or certain facts and events. And the last, number four, extensive. In extensive listening, a broader and more general understanding is needed. Usual includes the essence or main idea of what is heard. Okay, that's enough for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.